activity. It's real simple. That means in the last 6 months, that credit bureau has not recorded anything on you. It's how they get rid of dead people. Okay?
What?
How do the credit bureaus get rid of dead people? If you don't have any activity, after 6 months, you go to NA, and after approximately 3 years, you drop out of the system. Okay? Many companies do not report to all 3 credit bureaus. You have to pay to report to the credit bureaus. Yes. I'll email it to everybody. Okay? Let's talk about that for a minute. You ever wonder why you don't, if you rent an apartment, it never shows up as a positive on your credit report? Or you rent a house? It's because whoever you're paying that payment to has to pay to report that to the credit bureaus. So Ford pays money to report to all 3 credit bureaus when you make your on-time monthly payment or your not on-time monthly payment. Okay? Now you ever wonder, well, why do I get 3 different scores? Well, it's because some may only pay to report to Transunion. Some may only pay to report to Experian. Or they may report to 2 of the 3. Okay? The worst of this group are always credit unions. Credit unions, you get a loan from credit union and not show up anywhere. Because they don't pay to report. Okay? So anytime you're getting credit to build your credit, make sure they report to all 3 bureaus. It isn't going to do you a darn bit of good. There are credit cards out there that don't report to the credit bureaus. Why have it? It's not doing you any good. Okay? Any questions there? Each credit company, Transunion, Experian, Equifax, puts different values on positives and negatives. So for Transunion, they may, and we don't know this because they don't tell us what their criteria is, their algorithms are. We don't know that. They may put more emphasis on a positive car payment, and they may put less emphasis on a negative house payment. We don't know. Okay, and it changes. So about the time we figure it out, they change the system. Okay? Here's the big misnomer. Credit bureaus are private businesses. They're not government entities. I don't know how many people say, well, why don't the government step in? Because they're businesses. So here's how this works. These guys are brilliant, right? You got to pay to report, and then when you want to loan somebody money, you got to pay me to give those numbers back to you. It's an awesome business. Right? It's an awesome business. Okay? So they're not government entities. They're for business companies. Therefore, if it's wrong, your report's wrong, they don't really care. They're just going to keep selling that bad boy. Anything to them. Yes, sir.
So it's always been those 3 if they're private entities. Why is it so much?
There's been a few try. It says once they're stuck there, it's hard to get. Yes, ma'am. FICO scores is your middle score for FICO is your Experian. Experian is your FICO score. That's just a different name for it. Experian, actually, don't quote me on that. One of those 2, but it's just what they call it. They get used wrong a lot of the times. They'll say, well, my mid FICO score. Well, no, it's really kind of not really the right thing. Yeah, which is Experian or something. Okay? That's just what they call their scoring. Any more questions on this? When I pull a credit report for a background check on a tenant, we're only pulling Transunion. So for some reason Transunion doesn't report your repoed car from CarMax 4 years ago, I'm not going to see it. I'm only going to see what's on TransUnion's report. Happens most of the time on the rental world. Okay? Now, dig deep into this, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it now. You can go buy a car. Car lot says, oh, you're approved. You've got a 640 credit score. Then you call your lender to buy a house, and they say you got a 580. How's that happen? Because car lots run a different program than mortgage companies. Car lots put a lot of emphasis on car payments. If you make good on-time car payments for the last 5 years, you may have a high car lot score. and a low house score. Pretty muddy, isn't it? Okay, dig into some more stuff here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Basic credit requirements to buy a house. FHA right now, there are all kinds of programs under 620, but if you're 620, you're good to go on FHA. Yes, we can go to 600, you can go to 580. Hell, Wells Fargo can tell you can go to 505. I've never seen one done. Okay? 620 is where I'd love you to be. That means you need one score over 620, and you can have one score under 620. Okay? Conventional, really want you to be around 680. Yes, you can go lower. Yes, there are programs. But a 680 is going to make you a real fabulous conventional loan person. Okay? No lates in the last 12 months. Anything in the last 24 months is going to need to be explained. So, if you miss a credit card payment for Victoria's Secret for $12.50 as your minimum payment, it can keep you from buying a house. Because it's a late payment on your credit report. Period, end of story. Okay? Number one cause of bad credit for most people right now are late payments. Let's talk about late payment. Payments due on the 1st. You're going to get a late fee on the 15th, right? Guess what? Credit Bureau doesn't see that. Credit Bureau could care less until midnight on the 29th. Because you only report 30-day lates. 12/01 on the 29th, you're going to get a 30-day late. So if you make your payment online on the 28th, and it posts that day, credit bureaus aren't going to see your late payment. They could care less.
That's of the following month, so if it was due on the 1st.
It's due on the 1st, you got to pay it by the 29th of that month. Due on the 1st, midnight on the 29th, 12/01 on the 30th, you're now 30 days late.
So you're not really late after,
No?
even though they charge you a late fee.
Correct.
It just won't show up on your credit.
Won't show up on your credit report. It's not a negative until 30 days. It's a 30-day late. We've all had those months where, yeah, I can't make every payment by the 15th. It's okay. Now let's talk about that. Guess what? Your cell phone bill is not on the credit report, people. You don't get a positive or a negative for paying your credit, paying it online, on time. Neither is your electric bill, your gas bill, okay? Cell phone, those are the big three. Boy, you know what the first thing most people pay? Their cell phone bill.
Wonder why.
Let that bad boy ride. If it's on your credit report, it needs to be paid first. Period. End of story. If you're 45 days late on your cell phone bill, you're going to get a nasty letter. Big deal. Doesn't hurt your credit. Hurt your credit if you let it go to collections and Verizon below that.
Verizon.
Okay? You got to pay those bad boys at some point. But if you're trying to figure out how to make your money stretch that month, make sure you know what's reported to the credit bureaus and pay those things first. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
What about, cable service?
Cable service not on there. Insurance not on there. Even though they pull your credit to look at your insurance, to quote you insurance, it does not show up on your credit report. Okay? Any other questions there?
So what does?
Medical.
What does? Medical bills only show up after you've not paid them. Okay? Here's what reports there. Credit cards, for the most part, all credit cards do. Student loans. Okay? Car payments and mortgages. That's really all that reports to the credit bureaus on a regular basis. Now, you'll find all kinds of negatives on there, and they'll send you to collections if you don't pay somebody. So you get hit for not paying, but you don't get any positives for paying. Apartments are notorious for that. You don't pay your last deposit or something in an apartment, they're going to put you into collections, going to hurt your credit score, but you didn't get credit for the 19 years you lived there and paid on-time payments. Okay? No lates in the last 12 months. You want to have a knockdown drag out? Is whenever the husband finds out the wife didn't make a $7 payment to credit card, and now you can't buy a house for 12 months. And there's pretty much no exceptions to this. Underwriters hate it. Because it's an indicator you're not good at managing your money. Okay? And I didn't talk about this. Credit score is theoretically a snapshot in time of your ability to repay credit. That's it. Okay? So when we had a credit card company, I get these calls from old people, like they'd be in their 70s, just yelling at me because they don't have any credit, because they pay cash for everything. and they can't go help their grandson co-sign for a car or anything. I've got $8 million in the bank. Well, credit bureaus don't care. They don't look at your bank account. Credit bureaus are not linked to your bank account. You can have all the money in the world in your bank account, but I'll tell you who has fantastic credit. Stay-at-home housewife with 14 credit cards to every place in the mall, makes an on-time monthly minimum payment every month. Beautiful. Beautiful credit. Huge credit. Now, their debt-to-income ratio looks boo-boo. Okay? But they got a great credit score. So that's why when our lender friends are looking at your credit portfolio, they're like, okay, you got to have good credit. Oh, but your debt-to-income ratio has got to be good too. Okay? So people that don't have credit, just because you pay cash for everything, yeah, that's a mistake. Right? To have really good credit, 800 is always like that's the holy grail in the world of credit. You're going to need 3 credit cards that you use.
What's the highest you can get?
I've only seen an 820.
You don't know the highest?
I don't never see anything higher than that. I don't know what theoretically there's a theory of like an 850 or a 900, but I've only seen an 820. Likewise, on the bottom end, the lowest I've seen is a 380. 380, you got to work hard out. 380. No, you got to work at that, right? You got to like, I'm going to drive this thing. Let's see how low we can go. Okay? To have that 800 credit score is also time. Okay? I have never had a late payment in my entire life. I've paid off 3 houses, cars, everything else, and I'm at like a 780. Okay, time creates that. But you've also, one of my problems is I don't have much credit cards. I only have 1. If I want to hit 800, I got to have 2 more. I'm not going to do it. Okay? I'm good with 780. Yes, ma'am.
Is there damage to you if, like I have some credit cards that I don't use very often, is there damage to the credit to go back in and cancel?
Yes. Never, ever, 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 ever cancel a credit card. Because all those payments are history and you get credit for them. Okay? Every year, now I recommend that you put something on it, pay the minimum and then pay it off the next month. Never pay it to 0 every month.
I do every month.
That's a problem.
10%.
$7.94.
For what?
You would be, well, you've probably been doing this a long time. But if you let it ride every month, you'll pick up, for those of you that are younger, let it ride every month and you'll pick up points. Okay? But I had a guy one day where you know how they actually pull credit the day of closing? Most people do, or the day before, check the credit score. He paid off all of his credit cards. 3 weeks before that, credit score tanked. Almost 100 points. Tanked. You're like, well, I just wanted to pay them off. Guess what? Paying off a car hurts your credit score. Paying off a house hurts your credit score. Yeah, there we go. There's the like dumbfounded looks. Because again, what is a credit score? It's a snapshot in time of your ability to pay. They want to see payments every month. When you pay it off and it goes to 0, we don't see anything anymore. Yes, ma'am.
Are you paying interest on things?
Yeah.
So basically they want you to keep paying.
They want you to keep
interest
paying.
and
Yes. Yes. Ah, we're having fun now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay? It's a messed up world, people. The system is broken.
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 Amen.
The more you pay, the better your scores. The less you have. Talk to my friend Wayne next door. He was all bent out of shape. My credit score, like, because you pay cash for everything. Okay? It happens all the time. Right? Because if you don't have credit, they can't tell me what's going on. What's the difference between an 18-year-old with no credit and a 7-year-old with no credit? Nothing. Nothing. Okay? This is the stuff that makes people's head hurt. Right? Collection limits. So the basic credit cards to buy a home, there's collection limits. You can have some collections on your credit report. They need to be minimal. Okay? No judgment.